My name is Felicity Chin, and I'm 26 years old. Last Christmas Eve, my parents locked me out of our family home in freezing weather while my brother stood at the window, laughing. I had nowhere to go, no coat, and temperatures dropping below zero. Then a barefoot stranger appeared in the snow, and what happened next would expose my family's darkest secret. If you've ever felt invisible in your own family, drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. Hit subscribe before this story takes a turn nobody saw coming. The Chin family looked perfect from the outside. Dad owned 3 successful restaurants in Denver. Mom volunteered at the Children's Hospital. My older brother Kai was finishing his MBA at Stanford. And me? I was the family disappointment who chose teaching over business. But perfection is exhausting when it's built on lies. Growing up, I noticed things. How Dad's stories about his childhood never quite matched up. How Mom deflected questions about her past. How Kai got everything while I got lectures about gratitude. The unspoken rule was simple. Don't ask questions, don't make waves, maintain the image. I tried. God knows I tried. When I was 8, I found old photographs in the attic. Dad looked younger, standing with people I'd never met. When I asked about them, he snatched the photos away. Some things aren't your business, he said, his voice cold in a way that scared me. Mom's response was worse. She didn't get angry. She just looked sad, disappointed, like I'd betrayed her by being curious. That's when I learned my family had secrets worth protecting more than me. The problem started when I was 15. Kai needed money for a summer program in China, $20,000. My parents liquidated my college fund without telling me. I found out when I tried to apply for school's senior year. Kai's education is an investment, Dad explained over dinner. You can get scholarships. You're smart enough. Translation: Kai mattered. I was an afterthought. I worked 3 jobs through college, graduated with honors in education, and got my teaching certification. My parents skipped my graduation. Kai had a golf tournament that weekend. But I kept trying to earn their love, kept showing up, kept hoping. Last year, I started dating someone they approved of, Marcus, a corporate lawyer. Polished, ambitious, everything the Chens valued. Except Marcus had a temper I hid from everyone, including myself. When he proposed last March, my family was thrilled. Finally, Felicity was making good choices. The engagement lasted 4 months. I ended it when Marcus cornered me at his apartment, angry because I'd mentioned wanting to wait on setting a wedding date. His hand on my throat made the decision easy. I called off the engagement the next day. My family's reaction? Disappointment. Not concern, disappointment. Do you know how embarrassing this is? Mom hissed during an emergency family dinner. What will people think? He hurt me, I said quietly. Dad waved this away. All couples fight. You're too sensitive. Marcus comes from a good family. Kai laughed. Always creating drama, Felicity. Some things never change. That was June. By December, we'd reached an uneasy truce. They'd stopped mentioning Marcus, and I'd stopped expecting them to ask if I was okay. Christmas Eve was supposed to be our fresh start. I arrived at my parents' house at 6 p.m., arms full of carefully chosen gifts. The smell of Mom's dumplings filled the air. Kai was already there, drink in hand, holding court about his Stanford connections. Everything seemed normal until I noticed Dad's study door was cracked open. Light spilled out, and I heard voices, Dad and someone unfamiliar. The timeline is tight, the stranger said. If she finds out before we're ready. She won't, Dad interrupted. Felicity doesn't ask questions anymore. We trained that out of her years ago. My blood went cold. They were talking about me. I should have walked away. Instead, I pushed the door open. 3 men stood in Dad's study. Dad, a man I didn't recognize in an expensive suit, and someone who looked vaguely familiar from old photographs. Felicity. Dad's face went pale, then red. What are you doing? Who are these people? I asked. What don't you want me to find out? The room went silent. Then Kai appeared behind me, his hand gripping my shoulder too tightly. You always have to ruin things, don't you? Dad's expression hardened into something I'd never seen before, cold, calculating, almost cruel. This is a private business meeting. You're being disrespectful. I heard you talking about me, I pressed. What timeline? What can I find out? That's when Mom rushed in, her eyes darting between me and the strangers. Felicity, honey, let's go to the kitchen. I need help with. No. I stood my ground. I want answers. The man in the expensive suit cleared his throat. Perhaps we should reschedule, Mr. Chen. Dad nodded curtly. I apologize for the interruption. Family matters. As the men left, I watched my family's faces transform. Dad's jaw was tight. Mom wouldn't meet my eyes. Kai looked almost pleased. You've embarrassed this family for the last time, Dad said quietly. His voice was shaking not with anger, but with something else. Fear? What are you hiding? I demanded. Instead of answering, Dad walked to the front door and opened it. Get out. I laughed, thinking he was joking. It's Christmas Eve. It's 20 degrees outside. I said get out. His voice was flat, final. Mom stood frozen in the hallway. Kai leaned against the doorframe, phone out, already recording. This is gold, he muttered. Always the victim, Felicity. You're seriously throwing me out? My voice cracked. On Christmas Eve? Dad's answer was to grab my coat and purse, shoving them at me. You can't follow simple rules. You can't respect boundaries. Leave. Mom? I turned to her desperately. She looked at the floor. You should have stayed in the kitchen. The cold hit me like a wall when Dad pushed me onto the porch. I heard the deadbolt click. Through the window, I saw Kai raise his phone higher, laughing. I stood there in shock, the gifts I'd brought scattered on the frozen porch, wearing only a thin sweater as snow began to fall. That's when I saw him. A man was walking down the middle of the street, barefoot, in the snow. At first, I thought I was hallucinating from shock. But no, he was real, mid-40s, wearing jeans and a flannel shirt, no coat, no shoes. His feet left dark prints in the white snow. He stopped when he saw me. You're locked out. Not a question. A statement. Yes. My teeth were chattering. Family issues. He looked at my parents' house, then back at me. Something in his expression changed. The Chin residence? How do you? I'm Victor Reeves, he said. I think we need to talk about your father. The name triggered a memory. Old photographs. The man Dad wouldn't discuss. You were in those pictures. From the attic. Victor's smile was sad. Your father and I were business partners. 28 years ago. Were. Past tense. What happened? I asked, though part of me already knew the answer would change everything. Let's get you somewhere warm first. Victor pulled off his flannel, revealing a thermal underneath. My car is around the corner. We'll go to a diner, and I'll tell you everything your family doesn't want you to know. Why are you barefoot? The question seemed absurd given the circumstances, but I needed to understand. His laugh was bitter. Reminder. Your father took everything from me, my business, my reputation, my shoes, quite literally the day he betrayed me. Every Christmas Eve, I walk this route barefoot to remember what was stolen. Why tonight? Why are you here? Because tonight, I'm finally ready to take back what's mine. He met my eyes. And you, Felicity, just became the key to exposing the truth. The diner was empty except for a tired waitress and us. Victor ordered coffee, waited until I'd stopped shaking from the cold, then placed a thick folder on the table between us. Your father's restaurants? Victor began. They were mine. We started the first one together in 1995. Equal partners, equal investment. Within 5 years, we had 3 locations. We were successful. What happened? I wrapped my hands around the warm mug. Your father wanted to expand faster than we could afford. I said no. So he forged my signature on loan documents, emptied our business accounts, and bought me out with money he stole from our joint holdings. Victor opened the folder, showing me bank statements, forged documents, legal papers. He framed me for embezzlement. I lost everything, my business, my marriage, my reputation. I served 3 years in prison for crimes he committed. The papers swam before my eyes. My father, the successful restaurateur, was a thief. Why didn't you fight it? I asked. I tried. But your father is very good at covering his tracks. And he had something I didn't, money for lawyers. By the time I got out of prison, the statute of limitations had passed on most of the fraud charges. Most? Victor's smile was sharp. The forgery? That has a longer timeline. And I finally have proof. He pulled out more documents. Bank records showing the transfer patterns. Handwriting analysis showing the forgeries. And most damning, a sworn statement from the accountant your father paid to falsify the books. The man in the study tonight, I breathed. The one in the suit. Douglas Kramer. Your father's accountant. He's dying cancer. And he's decided to clear his conscience before he goes. Victor leaned forward. With his testimony, I can reopen the case. Your father will finally face consequences. But they kicked me out because you stumbled onto tonight's meeting. Your father was trying to buy Kramer's silence one last time. You interrupted that negotiation. Everything clicked into place. The secrets. The lies. The way my family had always prioritized appearance over truth. They weren't protecting a successful business. They were protecting a crime. What do you need from me? I asked. Nothing, Victor said, surprising me. You've already suffered enough because of your father's choices. I just wanted you to know the truth before everything comes out. The authorities will be involved by morning. No. I surprised myself with the firmness in my voice. I want to help. They threw me out in the snow to protect these secrets. My whole life, I've been gaslit, minimized, dismissed. If exposing the truth means they finally face reality, then I'm in. Victor studied me carefully. You understand this will destroy your family? Your father will go to prison. The restaurants will likely be seized. Your mother and brother chose their side when they locked me out. The anger felt clean, righteous. What do you need? There's a safe in your father's study. Kramer says he keeps the original documents there, the real partnership agreements, the loan applications. If we can get those. I have a key, I interrupted. To the house. They never asked for it back. We waited until 1 a.m. The house was dark, everyone asleep after their perfect family Christmas Eve without me. The key turned silently in the lock. Victor stayed in the shadows while I crept through the familiar halls of my childhood home. Everything looked the same, Mom's Christmas decorations, the family photos that never quite included me, the expensive furniture bought with stolen money. Dad's study door was closed but unlocked. I slipped inside, using my phone flashlight to navigate to the wall safe behind the decorative painting. The combination was my parents' anniversary, because Dad was predictable in his sentimentality, even in crime. The safe opened with a soft click. Inside were exactly what Victor described, original documents, bank records, handwritten notes in Dad's precise handwriting detailing every forgery, every theft. Evidence of a 28-year crime spree. I photographed everything, then carefully copied the documents with Dad's printer. The machines soft were sounding explosively loud in the silent house. Felicity. I froze. Kai stood in the doorway, backlit by the hallway light. What are you doing? His voice was confused, not angry yet. I straightened, clutching the copied documents. Uncovering the truth. Those are private. They're evidence, I corrected. Evidence that Dad stole his business, framed an innocent man, and built our perfect life on lies. Kai's face went through several expressions: confusion, denial, then something that looked almost like relief. You knew. My voice rose despite myself. You knew what he did? I found out last year, Kai admitted, stepping into the room. I was going through Dad's files for tax information and I saw, he gestured at the safe. Everything. And you said nothing. What was I supposed to do, Felicity? Turn in our father? Destroy our family? Some of us know how to be loyal. The audacity of that statement stole my breath. He threw me out. On Christmas Eve. In the freezing cold. To protect these secrets. Because you couldn't leave well enough alone, Kai shot back. You never can. Always asking questions, always pushing boundaries. Boundaries. I laughed, the sound harsh. Or lies. You're defending a man who stole someone's entire life. He's our father. He's a criminal. I held up the documents. And tomorrow, the whole world is going to know. Kai's hand moved toward his phone. I'm calling Dad. Go ahead, I said calmly. Call him. Wake him up. Tell him his rejected daughter just found his insurance policy against prison. See how much he values your loyalty then. Kai's hand froze. In that moment, I saw the truth in his eyes. He'd always known he was loved conditionally, just like me. The difference was he'd been willing to meet the conditions. You're really going to do this, he said finally. Destroy everything. No, I corrected. I'm going to expose what was already destroyed. Dad did this, not me. And you all chose to protect the lie rather than support the truth. I walked past him toward the door. He didn't try to stop me. Victor was waiting by his car. I handed him the documents silently. Thank you, he said simply. What happens now? Now? He smiled, and for the first time it reached his eyes. Now I get my life back. My name cleared. Maybe even some restitution for the years I lost. And my family? Faces the consequences they've been running from for 3 decades. He paused. I'm sorry it had to be you who helped me. I know this is painful. Don't be sorry, I said. For the first time in my life, I'm choosing truth over comfort. It hurts, but it's the right hurt. By morning, the police had the evidence. By noon, Dad was arrested at his flagship restaurant. The news covered it extensively. Successful businessman exposed as fraud. Restaurants seized pending investigation. Victims finally vindicated. Mom called me 17 times. Kai sent a long text about betrayal and family loyalty. I deleted it without reading past the first line. I spent Christmas Day in a hotel room, eating takeout Chinese food and thinking about the barefoot man who'd appeared in the snow like an avenging angel. Victor called on Christmas night. The prosecutors are confident. With Kramer's testimony and the documents, your father is looking at 15 to 20 years. Good, I said, and meant it. What will you do now? He asked. Start over, I answered. Build a life that's actually mine, not a role in someone else's lie. The teaching job? That's real. That matters. Kids need someone who'll tell them the truth. I paused. Maybe after all this settles, you could tell your story to my class. About rebuilding after loss. I'd like that. He was quiet for a moment. You know, in a strange way, your father did me one last favor. How's that? He showed me I wasn't wrong to trust people. I was just trusting the wrong person. His voice warmed. But then his daughter proved that sometimes truth runs deeper than blood. After we hung up, I stood by the hotel window, watching snow fall on the Denver streets. My phone buzzed with another call from Mom. I let it go to voicemail. Somewhere out there, Victor Reeves was probably putting shoes on for the first time on Christmas Eve in 28 years. And I was finally free. Have you ever discovered a family secret that changed everything? What did you choose, comfortable lies or painful truth? Drop your story in the comments below. If this resonated with you, hit that subscribe button. Sometimes the family we need isn't the one we're born into, it's the one that shows up barefoot in the snow when we need them most. And if someone in your life is choosing image over integrity, remember, you don't owe your silence to protect their lies. Thanks for watching. May you always choose truth, even when it costs everything.